What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Kid Taj, and today we're gonna have another draft video. It's Saturday. I usually do this on Saturday, but an important announcement before I get into this. I'm gonna be out of town for a good stretch next week due to Thanksgiving break, meaning that, I gotta pre-record some videos. So if I drop a draft video in the middle of the week and on a Saturday, it's just because, I need to make videos. I'm not gonna be able to make current videos on what's happening currently in the NBA when I'm out of town. That should be, pretty straightforward. And also, we are nearly at 1,000 subs. By the time y'all see this video, I might be at 1,000 subs. It's crazy, and I was thinking of stuff I would do when I get to 1,000 subs. I was thinking I might just play 2K with some people, some of my subs, get a all-star team up or like a pro-am game, or maybe just like play them straight up and play now, or my team. I don't know, it doesn't matter, but do something with the subs maybe, or I could do like something where I read all the comments and respond to them, or I have some ideas, but let me know what you want to see if, any of those things are appealing. And we're about to get into this. So basically, the 2006 NBA draft, we're going back pretty far, meaning that I don't know if I'm going to be doing this that much longer, doing like later years. I'm going to do 2003 for sure because, LeBron. I'm definitely going to do 2014, 15, and 16, even though those might be hard to judge. But yeah, if I don't do 2005 or 2004, like whatever, then you guys know why. Sorry. I gotta start this video. We're starting off, actually, this is kind of bad. So basically, the 4th and 5th, I know who I wanted for the top 3 spots, and the 4th and 5th spots, I couldn't decide. It's a 3-way tie, so there's actually 6 players in this, and the bottom 3 are all tied. And those players, remember, I'm basing them on who's the best now, currently. The tie was between Chicago Bulls point guard Rajon Rondo, who was picked 21st overall to Phoenix, traded to Boston out of Kentucky as a sophomore. The second player in the tie was Los Angeles Clippers shooting guard J.J. Redick, who was picked 11th to the Orlando Magic. He's a senior from Duke. And the last guy in this 3-way tie is Sacramento Kings small forward Rudy Gay, picked 8th to Houston, traded to Memphis, sophomore from Connecticut. So, I'm going to explain why this is a 3-way tie. I know that some of y'all in the comments are thinking, what? Rudy Gay is way better than Redick, or Rondo is way better than these guys, or you guys probably have your differing opinions, but I'm going to explain why these guys all belong really around in the same spot, in my opinion. And it's really hard to compare guys like this, because we'll start with Rondo and Redick. Rondo obviously can do more, but a guy like Rondo has so much of a negative effect on a team sometimes. He doesn't try on defense a lot of the time. He can't shoot the ball, and he's not very good fits with most of the league. If you put him on almost any NBA team, then it could create some problems offensively where, you want someone else to have the ball, because if you have a go-to player, you don't also want Rondo because you want that guy to have the ball. You know what I'm saying? So Rondo can be a problem. Redick is a guy you could really just insert into any system and he'll be good. He does one thing. The thing with Redick out of all these guys is he's the only guy that really contributes to his team always in a positive way. There really isn't a minus with Redick. He's not a great passer, so you don't put the ball in his hands to dribble. He's not a great rebounder. Okay, that's why he's out there playing shooting guard. That's not that much of a liability for a shooting guard that's not getting a lot of rebounds. He's a decent defensive player, and he's a great shooter. So he's a 3-and-D, mostly just 3, because that's like what he does. He shoots a lot, not just 3s, but he just makes shots. He gets buckets. That's what he does. Rudy Gay might seem like the most complete player out of these 3, but the thing about Rudy Gay is that he can't win. He can put up a lot of empty numbers in Sacramento and maybe put up really good stats, but that Sacramento team is never going to win, and I don't know if that's his problem, but I remember when he was on Toronto back in the day, a couple years ago, they were better when he got traded, and they could center their offense around DeRozan and Lowry, because Rudy Gay apparently is just not the kind of guy you want running your offense through, but he's that type of player. He's just one of those minus guys. J.J. Redick is completely positive. He doesn't have the same type of game as Rudy Gay. Rondo's completely unpredictable, but he does a lot of things. He rebounds, he passes, but he can't fit in with a lot of guys. A lot of teams that he can't fit on. And his stats are down this year, and that's probably because he's not using the ball, having the ball as much. I don't know. It's so tough to judge. It really depends on, what type of system you want for one of these guys. But Rudy Gay, I think, is probably the most talented. Rudy Gay and Rondo I mean, they're all talented, but Rudy Gay and Rondo, probably the most talented, but they don't really fit as well as a guy like Redick does, and he probably has a better effect on a lot of teams than these guys. I don't know. It's really hard to say. That's why I tied him. But let's get into the top 3 who I completely solidified. No ties up here. Number 3 is San Antonio Spurs power forward LaMarcus Aldridge. He was picked 2nd in this draft to the Chicago Bulls, who traded him to the Portland Trail Blazers. He's a sophomore from Texas. LaMarcus Aldridge is a guy that, well, he's known for being a scorer. I mean, he played on Portland for a very long time, and they didn't really get that far in the playoffs. He played from where he was playing with Brandon Roy, who, shout out to Brandon Roy, because he was on this team. He was in this draft, I meant to say, as well. And, you know, he'd probably still be here if it weren't for those injuries. Terrible, terrible things. Portland just does not have good luck with injuries whatsoever. They never have. But LaMarcus Aldridge was a guy that was pretty healthy, but then he decided to leave, go to San Antonio, play with Kawhi Leonard and the Spurs, and they haven't really made that much noise. But we all know, I mean, I guess last year they lost in the second round. They haven't gotten to the finals yet with Aldridge on the roster. They only had that 1 year with him so far. This year, they're looking pretty good, but I still don't think they're going to make it to the finals. LaMarcus Aldridge is still a very talented player. He's a great jump shooter. He's almost automatic from that mid-range. He can score in almost any way you could think of. Great offensive player, pretty good on the defensive end and a good rebounder, but he's just not as solid all around as I guess he used to be, and I don't think he's really as good as he used to be, or he's just not as good as playing that role, because he was the number 1 guy in Portland for a very long time until Damian Lillard took over, and everybody got out of there when Damian Lillard took over and left him all by himself. But Lillard has done a great job at recovering and having that franchise build around him and making that team good again. LaMarcus Aldridge leaving and going to San Antonio, where he's going to be the 2nd guy again, he just hasn't been that same player. And I'm wondering, is that age, is that declining, or is that just he's not good at playing as a second option? Kind of like the Kevin Love thing, except to a lesser degree, because Kevin Love was absolutely killing it in Minnesota, and now he's still a very good player, but he's not the same guy he used to be. At number 2, I'm going with the Toronto Raptors point guard Kyle Lowry, picked 24th overall to the Memphis Grizzlies, sophomore from Villanova. Lowry is undoubtedly a great all-around point guard, and last season he had one of the best seasons, if not the best season. You know what, I'm going to say it was the best season of his career, because he showed that he can do it all and that he is a true big-time player. Another all-star game, I believe. Wasn't he in the all-star game? If he wasn't in the all-star game, he should have been in the all-star game. I don't remember exactly, but truth is, Kyle Lowry is a complete player. I mean, the guy can score in any area of the floor. He's only 6 feet, 6'1" at the tallest. He's a super scrappy defender. He rebounds for his height, and he's a very good playmaker. Doesn't have any weak areas, really. He can do it all and do it all well, which is something that, you know, teams like, the Raptors like, and it makes him a star player in the NBA. He solidified himself as a top 20 player in the NBA last season, being just really good. I mean, the guy is so solid, including when you get into crunch time. The Raptors have a guy that can give the ball to knock down that big shot, and I thought last year he was truly the best player on that team. This year, DeRozan's taking a huge step forward, but Lowry's a close second because he's also quietly having a pretty good year as well. Now, at number 1 is one of my favorite players, and one of, I think, is the most underrated player in the NBA, and it's none other than Atlanta Hawks power forward Paul Millsap. He was picked 47th to the Utah Jazz. Yes, the best player in this draft class, in my opinion, was picked 47th in this draft class. Unbelievable. I mean, Andrea Bargnani was picked first. Paul Millsap should have gone first, and I don't know why he was so late, but this guy is incredible. He's a junior. He was a junior picked from Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech? I mean, I don't think anyone really knew how good this guy was until he got in the NBA and made a name for himself. And now he's one of the most all-around players in the NBA. What can't this guy do? He's a true team player, number 1 guy. He's leading the Hawks right now, and they're, 9-3 or something like that? they're just a great team, and they're led by a great player in Paul Millsap. He checks all the boxes. He scores the ball. He's a great rebounder for his height. He's a very good passer for his position. He's one of the best defensive players in the league, not only at his position, but he can guard the perimeter. He can guard the post. He's got a great defensive rating. The guy is such a positive. You're not going to get, I don't think it's that easy to find players around the league that affect your team as positively as Paul Millsap. This guy has one of the best plus minuses in basketball, and it's obvious why. He does so much for you on the court. He does so little that you don't like. He's so smart of a player. He does it all, and incredibly talented. And just because he's not flashy, he doesn't make eye-popping plays, he's so overlooked. He doesn't need to put up the huge stats to be so effective on the basketball court, and that's where people just don't see how good this guy is. He can really be a top 15, top 10 even player in the NBA if he isn't already. I think he can be considered highly like that. He's an MVP. He's in the MVP conversation basically every year the last couple years, and that might sound crazy, but if you look at Kia MVP race to the MVP ladder on NBA.com, this guy's up in there every single year. He does so much on both sides. He leads his team to a great record just because he doesn't have the 25 points, 10 rebounds, and whatever you want to see out of a guy like this. He's incredibly efficient, incredibly effective, and he gets his team to win. He plays both ends of the ball, and he does it all, and I think that that's not appreciated enough. That's going to do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed this shit. If you like gaming, I have a gaming channel. Links in the description for that. And yeah, if you didn't like it already, hit that up. Subscribe if you're new. Comment an idea down below. What do you want to see? I'm out. Thanks for watching, y'all. Peace.